Hello everyone, it's been a minute since there's been a video on this channel, and today's video is going to be a little different from the old ones, but as you've probably read in the title, I created a website for Strava users, so today we're going to take a quick look at a demo of the website, and then the second section of the video will be talking about how it works. So let's go ahead and dive right in. If anyone watching this hasn't heard of Strava, it's a app and website for athletes to track their activities, most commonly for running, cycling, endurance sports like that. And they have an API which allows developers to pull data from Strava onto their own services. So I requested my application to be approved to use Strava's API, and it was, so now this is publicly available for anyone to try at runsome.harrylons.com if you have a Strava account. So a quick note on the security of all this is that Runsome would never see a user's Strava login. So Runsome never sees the email or password that you use to log into Strava. When you select Connect with Strava from Runsome, it redirects you to a Strava domain where you can log in with your credentials, and then Strava then redirects back to Runsome with a short-lived access code allowing Runsome to pull the data and do the necessary calculations on your public activity data. Let's go ahead and take a look at a demo video. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at my website and talk about its purpose and its use case. So many people are familiar with Spotify Wrapped and similar sort of summaries on other platforms. So I decided to create kind of my own version of that for Strava. So if we go ahead and take a look at the description here, it says, created by me and powered by Strava, Runsome is a site designed to provide retrospective training insights for endurance athletes. So in other words, athletes are able to log in and get some stats and data about their athletic efforts. And this stuff is just a bit wordy. The demo video is what I'm filming right now. And let's go ahead and try it out. So when you launch the website, you're just greeted with this pretty minimalist login page where we can connect with our Strava account. It'll ask you if you would let my website authorize with your Strava account, allowing me to pull your data directly from Strava through their API. After you log in, you'll be greeted with a page like this, which allows us to select a start date and an end date. So I made the connection with Spotify Wrapped, but the idea here is that you're able to define a custom time range to get these sort of summary statistics. Also, that's why it's called Runsome, because it's a running summary. So summary statistics are really the main focus. But anyway, so we can choose a start date. We get this nice little picker that drops down, and you can choose a date, or you can use one of the preset options. So today, let's go ahead and try out the year to date option, which is from the 1st of this year to today, October 11th. But of course, that will change to the current date whenever you try this out. There are other preset time ranges. We can do the last 6 months. We could try last full calendar year. But today, let's go for year to date. Okay, so we'll hit continue. And now the website is going to be pulling all of my data from Strava. It takes a second, as you saw there, but it's generally not too long. And then it runs some calculations to calculate our different statistics. So let's go ahead and take a look at these data screens. You'll notice that we're immediately greeted with the set of summary statistics, such as the number of activities, number of miles, active time, and so on. One that I really like is the percentage of days active. So I've only worked out in 52% of days this year. Thanks a lot, injury. And these other stats are great. And I think kudos is kind of fun. If anyone's unfamiliar, kudos are the currency of likes on Strava. And then you get some insights into your highlights, which is sort of these impressive activities, whether it's your furthest one, longest time-wise, most strenuous, which is calculated from Strava's relative effort statistic, and peak heart rate. So this would have my absolute peak heart rate. Okay, and then what you can also do is sort of filter these down to specific sport types. So I did 171 activities so far this year, and 49 of them were runs. And then, all of these stats will immediately adjust for just runs. Average miles per run, 6.90. All these stats will adjust for your runs, and then also the highlights will adjust to only include runs. So my furthest run was 14 miles. So if you're interested in seeing, your furthest run, but you have a bike ride that's an outlier or something, you can come here and filter to just see your running metrics. And then of course bike and swim. So for now, these are the only sports I've had on here, but I do have one idea I have for the future is to add some more sports on there. Also, something I recently implemented is that these other columns or these other tabs should not show up if you didn't do any bike or swim or run activities. So it'll just sort of personalize the UI to your experience. And here you can just immediately click new time range if you want to do another range without having to fully log back in again. As for the loading, it may take a minute if you select a very large time range, but generally it's not too bad. So for me, I know I wrote it in the FAQ. It takes about 33 activities are processed per second for me. So I think it took about 45 seconds to load all of my activities. So now let's go ahead and talk about how RunSum works. RunSum is an open source project, which means that all the code that I write is publicly available on GitHub. If you've never used GitHub before, there's plenty of tutorials online on what GitHub is, how to use it, and Git. And it's a common way to store our code online. So let's take a look. We have a GitHub organization named Harry Lawns-RunSum, which contains the front end and back end repositories. The back end is pretty straightforward. So let's start there. It uses a Flask server it spins up the Flask server on port 3011. And we'll talk about where this is actually hosted in a minute. And then, it just is able to do operations like accessing the Strava account through an authentication token or refreshing your token if it expires. Then the front end is the much larger repository. So this details all the UI components, the calculation of the statistics, the API call to Strava's API. All of this code will live in the source folder. This is built using React. And so it was, as it says here, bootstrapped with Create React app. And you need a .env file to run the project. So if anyone is interested in, forking this or contributing to it, then by all means reach out to me and I can help you configure a .env file. So this is built using React, and we can take a look at some of the code here. For example, you can come in and look at the landing page, the results page. All of these are publicly available. As for how the website is actually hosted, let's take a look at that next. So my website is hosted using Cloudflare tunnels, which allows me to forward a port from my Raspberry Pi to publicly host on the internet. As you can see, this is what it looks like. So we're forwarding these ports from a computer to a domain, namely all of my portfolio is on here as well, and another project that I worked on. And so where my code is actually running is interesting because it's on my Raspberry Pi, which is effectively a small computer that lives in my bedroom, and it's constantly running. These are pretty cheap. You can get them for under $100 usually. And the nice thing about that is that I don't have to pay any services to host my site. All I pay is for the domain name harrylawns.com. Okay, so that's it for the demo video. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this, go ahead and try out RunSum. It's now publicly available at runsum.harrylawns.com. I'll put the link in the description. For now, I would highly recommend using a computer to browse RunSum instead of a phone. Like if you have a laptop, that's great. But a phone will work as well. It's just a little bit less beautiful as of right now, but that's something I'm working on as well. So thank you all and have a great day.